But from a cost perspective and suitability for first-time investors, they are definitely my favorite platform. Alright, it's time to look at some of the best stocks and shares accounts that we can use here in the UK in the new financial year. I do think that we've got a decent range of options to choose from, and if this is your first time opening an ISA, you're spoiled for choice. But just before we delve into each of these providers, remember that this is just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor and your preferences may be different from the things which I think are important. Okay, so the key things that I will be considering for each of these providers are the following: the range of investments that they have available, their fees, how long they've been around for, and lastly the user journey and accessibility of their platforms. Okay, let's start off with the biggest name in the UK and one of the older, more established players, Hargreaves Lansdown. HL offers pretty much every account type that you can think of. Everything from pensions to cash ISAs to general accounts, as well as stocks and shares ISAs, of course. And they're a full service platform, meaning that they offer every kind of fund, company share or ETF you can imagine from pretty much every market in the world. They also offer a range of managed portfolios. So if you don't want to choose your own funds and shares, you can choose from 4 different portfolios, ranging from cautious to adventurous. You just have to pick one and then you'll get all the work done for you by the Hargreaves Lansdown team. I'm not the biggest fan of these ones, to be honest, mostly because of their fees really. You've got the ongoing charges for the fund themselves, which vary, and then there is a platform fee which is based on how much you have in your account. If you choose one of these portfolios, you're looking at the ongoing charges of the funds plus the platform fee, which can end up costing you as much as 1.44% per year. So it's not ideal in my opinion if you want to keep fees low. Now in terms of user journey and accessibility, firstly I think their website is great, although it can seem slightly overwhelming when you first get started. But it's nice and clean, everything is easy to find, and there's also a lot of information on there as well, with all of the data and research you need to help you get started. And there's even a mobile app, which I think is one of the best ones out there for tracking your investments. Anyway, let's talk about fees and charges, because it can be really confusing to make sense of them on this platform. So here is the fee structure for HL, and just to make it clear, this is what you pay on top of the annual cost of the funds themselves. Your annual account charge depends on whether you hold funds or shares, and as you can see, there are no charges for opening an account and holding cash. If you invest in mutual funds and you have less than £250,000 invested in your account, the account fee is 0.25% per year, and then as the value of your portfolio increases, the fee gets lower and then removed altogether if you end up having over £2 million in your account. However, there is no charge if you buy shares, ETFs, bonds and so on, but you do pay trading fees with these ones, which aren't applicable for funds. This can really add up if you're buying multiple shares, so just be aware of this. Although you can use the automatic investing option and reduce those fees. However, despite their higher fees, HL remains one of the most established brands in the UK, and it's also a public company. And if you had a big portfolio, you may value this feeling of safety and security for those higher fees. But for new investors, I think you could do better. Okay, moving on, we've got Vanguard, where I'm currently a customer with my stocks and shares ISA. If you haven't heard about Vanguard before, they're one of the largest providers of mutual funds in the world, with around $7 trillion worth of assets under management. They actually created the first index funds that retail investors like you and me could actually buy. Anyway, here is what they offer. As you can see from their website, you can use Vanguard for everything, from stocks and shares ISA and even a pension. When it comes to the choice of investing, you're only going to be seeing Vanguard's own index funds, ETFs, and actively managed funds. There is no individual company shares here at all. And they also have their own brand of ready-made portfolios. So if you aren't comfortable choosing your own investments, you could go down this route as well. On those choices of funds, you've got a good selection. Everything from global index funds to regions like the US, the UK, Europe, as well as bond funds too, if you want to diversify a bit and so on. Although their selection seems small when compared to other providers like Hargreaves Lansdown, in my opinion, there is more than you'll probably ever need. In terms of user journey, their website is really easy to navigate, it's nice and clean, and there is also an investing education section where you can learn more about investing. Unfortunately, Vanguard doesn't have a mobile app that you can use like they do in the US. But honestly, for long-term investors like us, it's probably better not to be tempted to log in every day. Now, in terms of fees and charges, Vanguard are known as one of the cheapest providers out there. You've got 2 fees to really focus on: the platform fee itself and then the fees from the funds themselves. themselves. The account fee is fixed at 0.15% per year and then capped at £375 a year once you reach £250,000 in your account. And then the funds cost depends on what you choose, but overall you'll be pretty cheap if you stick to those low-cost passive index funds. As an example, if you choose a FTSE 100 ETF such as this one, there will be your account fee of 0.15% and then 0.09% of the fund, making a total of 0.24%, plus any transaction cost that may apply. But either way, that's pretty cheap in the long term. One last thing I like to mention about Vanguard is that they're a trusted name and a globally recognized provider, offering reassurance and confidence in their platform. Okay, next up we've got Trading212. If you're new to investing and want a super easy to use platform, Trading212 might actually be one of the best. Their website is clean and easy to use, and they also have a mobile app as well to manage your investments on, which is super simple and it provides all the information you need to help you do your research. In terms of accounts, you can use Trading212 for pretty much anything. General investing, ISAs, and even a CFD account if that's your kind of thing. But you won't find any pensions and cash ISAs on here. They've got a really great selection of stocks and shares, from UK stocks to US stocks and ETFs. Pretty much any kind of company share and ETF that you can think of is available here. Now, one attractive feature of Trading212 is that they let you buy fractional shares of their products, which means that you don't need to buy the full amount of a share if you don't have enough money. So for example, if a share of Apple costs £500, you won't have to save up that entire amount to buy one share of Apple. And you can just invest, say, £80 if that's what you want. And this also works with ETFs, not just individual shares. You may also like their auto invest feature, which is kind of like a robo-advisor. You just tell them what you want to invest in, how much and how often, and then they'll do the rest for you. As part of this, they've also got a great selection of pies, which are basically a bundle of stocks and ETFs that are grouped together, and you can copy other investors' pies if you wish. It's just another feature that you don't necessarily have to use if you don't want to. Now let's talk about fees. Guess what? Trading212 doesn't actually charge any platform fees for your ISA, which is great. And there are no trading fees either, apart from the exchange rates for buying anything not in pounds. In terms of reputation, I would say that they've been around for a while and have proved themselves as a good service. However, I do think that they're more suitable for traders rather than long-term investors who just want to keep things simple. Okay, moving on, we have Freetrade. But just before we delve into it, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. Thank you. If you're just starting out with investing, then I do think that Freetrade is one of the best platforms to use. Their website and mobile app are both really nice to use, and it's super easy to see all of your investments in one place. They offer all the usual stuff like general investing and ISAs, but they don't have quite as many account types as some of the other ones. They don't offer things like cash ISAs or lifetime ISAs, for example, so do keep that in mind if you're looking for those types of accounts. In terms of what you can invest in, it's pretty simple. They've got a good selection of stocks and ETFs, but they don't have mutual funds or anything like that. So if you're just looking for the basics, this is probably all you need. Now let's talk about fees. Freetrade is quite different from some of the other platforms we spoke about, as they use a model that's based on a fixed fee rather than a percentage-based one. So their platform is free, but there are two different plans that you can have if you want to have a stocks and shares ISA or a SIP account. The only account that's actually free is a general investing account, but there are a few limitations. So if you want a stocks and shares ISA, you would need at least a standard plan, which costs $5.99 per month. And to add on a pension, you're using a plus account, which costs $11.99 per month. One thing we're mentioning here is that you can earn up to 3% interest on your cash with Freetrade if you choose the plus subscription, which is quite a nice touch. This would just about cover your monthly fee if you were to have £4,000 in the account, earning 3% in interest. And there are a few other good perks with this plan, so have a look into it if you're interested. In my opinion, from a cost perspective, it all depends on how much money you plan on investing. If you have a big account, fixed fees will work to your advantage. But if you only plan to invest £300 per month, let's say, paying up to £12 in fees is definitely a no-no. The last point I want to touch on is that Freetrade is quite a newer player as well. So if you're interested in more reputable brands, you may want to go down another route. Next up, we've got probably my favorite platform in recent years, InvestEngine. This platform offers a stocks and shares ISA, a general investing account, a business account, and a SIP. And from a product point of view, InvestEngine only offers ETFs. So no stocks, no index funds, only ETFs. At the moment, they've got over 600 ETFs available on their platform, and they keep adding new ones all the time. As an example, you can find ETFs from all of the most popular providers like Vanguard, Invesco, iShares, and so on. Now, in terms of user journey, their website is very cool looking. simple and easy to use, and they also have a mobile app to make things more easily accessible. And once inside the app, you do have the option to make your own portfolio or have one built for you. It's probably one of the most user-friendly platforms, making it very easy for new investors to get started. When it comes to fees, I would say that InvestEngine is currently the cheapest provider out there. They don't charge any fees for opening an account, no platform fees, no dealing fees either. The only cost that you will pay is the cost of the fund that you choose to invest in. However, if you want your portfolio managed by them, they do have a managed service fee of 0.25% per year, which is really competitive. Another cool feature that they have is that you can create your own portfolio where you can pick your ETFs and then choose the weight as a percentage of each one. The only con with InvestEngine is that they're still relatively new on the market. So if you want a trusted provider, you may have to wait a few years to see how they evolve. But from a cost perspective and suitability for first-time investors, they are definitely my favorite platform. If you decide to sign up to InvestEngine, you can use my affiliate link in the description box below, and we'll both get between 10 and 50 pounds. Thank you. Next up is AJ Bell, which is a pretty well-known name in the industry, and they're also a public company like Hargreaves Lansdown. AJ Bell offers pretty much every account type that you can think of, from general investing to ISAs, SIPs, and even a lifetime ISA. So if it's choice you're after, you'll probably find everything you need here. They offer a massive selection of funds, shares, and ETFs, so you'll definitely find something that you like. Now, in terms of user journey, their website looks slightly out of date when compared to some of the other platforms that we spoke about. But if you know what you're doing, this may not matter much. And they also have a mobile app, which is great for tracking your investments on the go. Now, when it comes to fees, they're very similar to HL, but slightly cheaper. For example, AJ Bell has a tiered platform fee, which is a percentage of your overall portfolio. This fee, which applies to both shares and funds, starts at 0.25% and then drops the more you invest. But there is also a dealing charge if you want to buy shares, so keep that in mind. And there are no fees for setting up an account or withdrawing money, as well as for holding cash or topping up. So a big pro with AJ Bell is that they've been around for a long time, so they're pretty trusted, but their fees could be lower when compared to other providers, unless you have a big portfolio. Right, the last provider on my list is Interactive Investor, which is a well-established provider that's been around for many years. They offer all kinds of accounts, from ISAs to pensions and every kind of investment that you're interested in. In terms of fees and charges, they have a similar structure to Freetrade, whereby they offer a fixed fee and they have different plans for their ISAs and SIP accounts. As we talked about earlier, this will suit those investors with big portfolios, but smaller accounts might not find it worth it if you only invest small amounts each month. Now, their website could be improved in terms of user journey, but they do have a lot of useful information on there. And they also have an app too, if that's important to you. Okay, so to wrap things up, here is how all these providers compare. They each have their own pros and cons, so make sure to choose the one that ticks all your boxes. Personally, I use Vanguard as they're one of the cheapest, and I've been with them for many years, and I can't be asked to change really. But if I were to pick a new one, I'd probably go for InvestEngine, as their costs are really low and they have a lot of products suitable for long-term investors, such as this Vanguard S&P 500 ETF or this one from iShares, for example. In fact, check out this video next to learn about some of the best S&P 500 ETFs for UK investors.